It was said so casually, almost like a joke. We were sitting around the dinner table when my mother-in-law made a comment that didn't seem meant for me. Everyone laughed, but my husband wouldn't look at me. And in that quiet moment, I realized my marriage might not be what I thought it was. I didn't think much of it at first. It was said casually, almost like a joke, the kind of comment people make without realizing how deeply it might land. We were sitting around the dining table after dinner, the plates still warm, the conversation drifting between small talk and old family stories. His mother laughed softly and made a remark that stopped me cold. It wasn't cruel. It wasn't loud. But it felt misplaced, like a line spoken from a script I had never been given. I smiled politely, the way I had learned to do over the years. Inside, something shifted. I had always believed that my marriage existed within the two of us, shaped by our choices and our efforts. But in that moment, I felt like a guest in a story that had started long before me. His mother continued speaking, unaware, or perhaps unwilling to notice, that the room had gone quiet. My husband avoided my eyes. That silence told me more than her words ever could. Growing up, I had been taught to respect family, especially elders. Questions were considered impolite, and harmony was valued above clarity. When I married into his family, I tried to adapt. I listened more than I spoke. I convinced myself that discomfort was just part of blending lives together. His mother had always been polite to me, sometimes distant, sometimes warm. I assumed that was simply her nature. But that comment stayed with me long after the evening ended. It echoed in my thoughts as I lay awake that night, replaying it again and again, searching for context I might have missed. I began to see past moments differently. Conversations that once felt harmless now seemed carefully measured. Family gatherings took on a new tone, one where I felt observed rather than included. Over time, small details began to surface. Private conversations that stopped when I entered the room. Decisions that had been made without my input, presented to me as fait accompli. I realized how often I had stepped back to keep the peace, telling myself that love required patience and understanding. What I hadn't considered was how much of myself I was quietly setting aside. The tension grew slowly, like a crack spreading beneath the surface. I wanted to ask my husband what his mother meant, but fear held me back. Fear of sounding insecure. Fear of uncovering a truth I wasn't ready to face. Yet, the distance between us widened with every unasked question. I felt alone in my own marriage, unsure of where I truly stood. The breaking point came not with an argument but with a realization. I understood that silence was no longer protecting me, it was erasing me. And as I sat alone one afternoon, listening to the quiet hum of the house, I knew I had reached a moment where I had to choose between comfort and honesty. The comment had opened a door I could northwest longer close, and what lay behind it would change everything. When I finally spoke to my husband, my voice was calm, steadier than I expected. I didn't accuse him or repeat his mother's words. I simply told him how that moment had made me feel, like an outsider in my own life. He listened quietly, his expression tightening, as if he recognized the weight of what I was saying. For the first time, he didn't dismiss my concerns or offer reassurance too quickly. He admitted that his family had always played a larger role in his decisions than I realized. Not because he didn't love me, but because he had never learned how to draw boundaries. His mother's comment wasn't meant to hurt me, he said, but it revealed something he had avoided addressing. There were expectations placed on him long before we married, expectations that shaped our relationship in ways I hadn't seen. The truth was painful, but it was also clarifying. I understood that my unease wasn't imagined. It had grown from years of small compromises and unspoken rules. We talked late into the night, revisiting moments that had quietly eroded my sense of belonging. There were tears, but also relief. Saying things aloud gave them shape, and shape made them manageable. In the days that followed, I focused less on blame and more on myself. I asked what I needed to feel respected and secure. The answer surprised me with its simplicity, honesty, and space. Space to exist without feeling judged or compared. Space to build a marriage that felt like ours, not an extension of someone else's expectations. The decision I made wasn't dramatic. I didn't leave, and I didn't demand immediate change. I set boundaries clearly and gently for the first time in my life. I learned that boundaries aren't walls, they're invitations to meet each other honestly. Some relationships adjusted. Others didn't. But I felt lighter, more grounded, and more myself than I had in years. Today, when I think back to that comment, I don't feel anger. I feel gratitude. It showed me where I had been shrinking, and where I needed to grow. My marriage didn't become perfect, but it became real. And that reality, with all its imperfections, finally felt like something I could stand in without losing myself.